In today's video, we're doing a free clean on a bathroom that's gotten a bit on top of two housemates. Now, this clean was a bit impromptu and I didn't know what to expect really. So I only had a simple bag of cleaning supplies and I just did the best I could with what I had. And I had 4 hours to get as much done as I could. So first, I'm going to show you around and show you the situation. So as you can see, there's lots of products all over the place and the grime's built up a little bit. And I'll take this opportunity now to say if you're going to pass judgment, please let's just keep it to ourselves, rather than taking the time to comment something that will only make people feel awful about themselves. Not just the people who live here, but people whose houses look similar. We have no idea what people are going through, and honestly, in my opinion, those judgy comments serve only to make unhappy people feel better about themselves. Truly content people don't drag other people down. And trust me, people with messy houses know the houses are messy. It's not news to them that things have gotten overwhelming and out of hand, or that most people don't live in houses like theirs. Reaching out for help is a very brave thing. So that's just something to bear in mind for anyone who's itching to comment that they'd never let their house get like this. I see that kind of comment constantly on house cleaning videos across the board. Please ask yourself why you feel the need to share that on a video like this. Right, now I've got that out of the way, let's get into what we're doing. So after assessing the situation, I decided to start on the area of the room that overwhelmed me the most. And that was obviously the sink and this windowsill. It was so cluttered and chaotic, and I thought, once I've sorted this, everything else will just seem so much easier. As you can see, there's a lot of mould creeping up the sides, and I actually didn't have any mould spray in my little cleaning bag, so I had to run to the shop to get some. Got absolutely drenched. Here's me awkwardly trying to show you how bad the rain was. Look at my leggings. But we got the mould remover, and that's the main thing. Being soggy throughout the entirety of this clean only spurred me on more, because I knew I was going back to a bubble bath, pyjamas and a fish and chip dinner. Perfect. So I'm using a bleach spray on this sink first of all, and as I clean that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the people who live here. I'm obviously not going to share their names for privacy reasons, but let's just call them Bob and Jeff, because they're the first names that popped into my head. Now, Bob has specifically requested that I don't rearrange or declutter any of the items. It's really important to him that they get put back where they originally were. Unless, of course, they're empty. In that case, I get to throw them away. Now, Bob is autistic and he likes to have all of his things, not just in the bathroom, out on display where he can see them. And I really wanted to talk about this, because I think the general preconception when it comes to autistic adults is that they're very organised and precious when it comes to their things. They're displayed in a certain way, and you wouldn't necessarily imagine this bathroom to be the bathroom of an autistic person. As someone who's very familiar with ADHD, this looks like ADHD clutter to me. But that's what I'm trying to get at. Neurodivergence manifests itself in so many different ways. We're not all the same. And while it looks messy, it's still what I like to call organised chaos. Because Bob knows where each and every one of his items are. And if I were to move them or put them into cupboards, or just organise things in ways that I think they should be organised, I'd be causing unnecessary stress for absolutely no reason other than it's what I think looks nicer or what I think would function better. But I'm not the one who's going to live here day to day. This isn't my space, and I'm just here to bring a sigh of relief, not cause panic in someone because their things weren't where they were before. I remember when I was younger. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, you won't know that I too am a very messy person. But I remember when my mum and stepdad had come in to tidy my room, after about 7 times of asking me to tidy it, and there'd just be drawings and art stuff and clothes and just everything everywhere. The amount of anxiety and rage it'd give me to know they were going to go through my stuff and move my things. I still get annoyed at the thought of it now, and it's like 20 years later. I felt very protective over my space. So to be allowed into someone's home and trusted to be respectful is an honour. So today my job is to clean and to put things back onto their allotted surfaces. And luckily I've got video footage of the before, so I know where everything goes. Anyway, as you probably noticed, there was a lot of lime scale in that toilet, so what I did was I dropped in 2 Harpic Power Plus tablets, and that will hopefully get rid of the lime scale while I get other things done. The mould remover's also on the windowsill doing its job as we speak. I didn't know what to expect when it came to how much mould it'd actually get rid of, but look at this. Such a difference already. I know it's preferable when using mould remover and other such products to ventilate the room as much as possible. But the blinds seem to be hinging on that window somewhat, if you notice the pull strings wrapped around it. So I could only open it slightly, but something's better than nothing. Anyway, I've told you about Bob, let me tell you about Jeff. So Jeff has a very demanding job. He works long shifts and is out of the house a lot. When he's not at work, he spends the majority of his spare time at his girlfriend's house. So really, this bathroom's not used very often by him. And when he does use it, it's just a short few minutes here and there to brush his teeth or go to the toilet. So all of the products you see here today are mostly Bob's. And that is all you need to know. So now that the windowsill was clear, it was time to get rid of all this slime from the overflow hole. I would have been happier if I could have got a more thorough job done here, but as I said earlier, I was on limited time. I got this clean done in between school drop-off and pick-up. And I know you're probably thinking, that is a lot of pressure, but I work best under pressure. So now I've got rid of all the bits I could reach there, I wanted to give the sink another once over with some sift cleaner, just to get everything I might have missed last time. And as I do that, I'd like to give a bit of love to a fellow creator on here. I was on my break at work last night, and I like to sit and watch YouTube videos as I eat my lunch. And I saw a video from another cleaning creator I love to watch on here. I'm sure so many of you already know her, but it's Bonnie from A Beautiful Mess. But if you don't know her, she goes out and helps other people and does free cleans for people in need. And her recent video really affected me. I just wanted to give her a hug through the screen. So basically, she's been having a really hard time, especially with trying to balance everything and give her all in every aspect of her life. She was explaining how, when she puts her everything into her cleaning jobs, she feels like she's not giving enough attention to her home life and her family, and vice versa. And she was talking about the guilt that comes along with that, and oh my goodness, I resonate. If you've watched a lot of my videos, you'll know my struggle with finding balance and mum guilt, and just how difficult it is to juggle everything. As you see here, I'm just giving some of the products a wipe down because some of them were pretty grimy. And I feel like it would have been weird to clean the surfaces and then put dirty products back on top of them. Anyway, sometimes it feels like you're split in so many different directions that you're not really living up to standard in any area of your life, or at least that's how it feels. Not only that, she was discussing how hard it is to absorb and carry the stories of the people that she helps. She's a very empathetic person, and it made me think of my own mum. She's a paramedic, and she started that job when me and my brother were little, and she's had to witness some horrendous things. And then she'd have to come home and switch into mum mode and try not to let those things affect her and us. How difficult that must have been. And I don't think people realise how hard some people work to keep certain aspects of their job separate from their home life, and how much it takes a toll. And so, as a content creator, there are a lot of things that go into making these videos that people don't really take into consideration. And no, I'm not comparing being a paramedic to a content creator. Just the helping other people part and seeing homes in certain conditions. So some people, not everyone, but a lot of people underestimate the time it takes to film the cleans, how long it takes to edit. If you do voiceovers, not only the time it takes to do the voiceovers, but the emotion you put into them. I know personally, and I'm sure it's the same for Bonnie, I pour my heart and soul into my voiceovers. And a lot of the time we have to fit all of this around our regular job and our family. And that's not to say we don't adore doing this and we don't acknowledge what a privileged position we're in. This is my dream job. But it doesn't mean that it's not demanding hard work. I know there are certain YouTubers who have a team of people who can answer comments and take care of admin and edit and do all of those things, but even if I could afford that, I want to do it. It's my channel. I want to reply to people. I want to edit. Do you know what I mean? And I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I just wanted to show some solidarity and give a slight insight into the behind the scenes of these kind of videos. Bonnie is such a lovely person, and if you've watched any of her videos, you'll know just how much she wants to help people and improve people's situations. But she is only one person, and as I said, in this particular niche, you're doing so many jobs in one, and you really can get burnt out. And she's doing all of this for free, and I think she deserves all the recognition in the world for what she does. If you go to the comment section on her latest video about burnout, which is the one I've been referring to, it doesn't take a scientist to figure out how valued and loved she is in this community, and how much of an impact she's had on so many people. So Bonnie, if you see this, I'm sending you all the love. I think you're lovely, as does so many other people. And if you like watching messy house cleans, you're here, so I presume you do. I highly recommend A Beautiful Mess. Anyway, so we're on to the toilet. I hope you were as chuffed at how the sink and the windowsill turned out as I was. And I want to just say now, as I do in most videos, I am obviously not using the same sponge to clean the whole bathroom. Nor am I using the same 2 microfiber cloths. I picked up some packs from Asda before I left, and they come in a pack of 2, pink and blue. You'd be surprised at how many people assume I'm just using the same sponge, and honestly, it's a pet peeve of mine at this point. I guess me saying but yeah and anyway in the video every 5 seconds is a pet peeve of a lot of people as well. So swings and roundabouts. I have to keep the voiceover flowing somehow though, because we're having a conversation, me and you, but I can't hear you respond, so... Anyway, someone got wound up at me the other day for saying assume when it's assume. It's just how I speak. I know it's assume. That's another pet peeve of mine. Apparently we're talking about pet peeves now. People who try to humiliate people for grammatical errors or for pronouncing something wrong. Really? Now, I do have a very specific pet peeve that's been handed down to me by my dad when it comes to a pronunciation of a letter. H. It's not H, it's H. But why are we picking people up on things like that in conversation? It's an easy mistake to make, and it doesn't matter. Unless you're that person's teacher. A lot of the time as well, when people pronounce things wrong, it means they've learnt a new word through reading. They've been trying to teach themselves, and you're taking the mick? No. What are some of your pet peeves? I like learning about the little quirky things that wind people up. Tell me some really specific and unique ones as well though, not like chewing with your mouth open, because that winds most people up. I want to hear the random ones, it will give us all a good laugh. My new thing at the minute is having a good old belly laugh each day. Because I realised not long ago that I've just stopped laughing at things. Like, obviously I'll have a chuckle, but a proper belly laugh where you nearly wee yourself and you're just in tears. I used to laugh like that all of the time when I was younger, and it's so healing. I think with the state of the world and the way things have been probably for the last 5 years now, it's just hard to laugh, isn't it? Life just seems different. But I've really committed to being more light-hearted. I truly believe in that state we can be the most positive influence to the people around us. And that has ripple effects, doesn't it? You brighten someone's day, you make someone laugh, they go off happier, and they treat people better. But yeah, I was raised on comedy, observational comedy, sitcoms, everything. I've spoken about this before in one of my really, really old videos, but there was always something funny on in the background when we were growing up. I remember my mum and dad split up when I was around 8 and I'd stay at my dad's on the weekend, and he only had a few videos that we could watch. And he had the Blackadder box set and the Young Ones, and I used to fall asleep to them. I remember lying in bed with my mum as well, and we'd watch Men Behaving Badly. She'd let me stay up late to watch it, and You've Been Framed, Vicar of Dibley, just really wholesome, funny programmes. When we'd go to my grandparents' house, it'd be the Carry On films and Only Fools and Horses. Now, I know some of those programmes wouldn't really be well received today, But I just have fond memories, and I remember always laughing and life always being light-hearted. Even into my teenage years, it was Gavin and Stacey and In-Betweeners and Misfits and Friday Night Dinner. So recently I've started falling asleep to the Ricky Gervais Show podcasts. They used to make me absolutely howl laughing when I was a teenager. Just the dynamic between Ricky, Steve and Carl Pilkington. Just amazing. Anyway, I do apologise for the crackling sounds on some of this voiceover and the way the screen's coming in and out of focus and it's flashing different colours. I've got a new phone and I'm still figuring it out. For those of you who don't know, I film my videos on my phone. I just find it easier. I can do my voiceovers on my phone, I can edit on my phone. And I've actually invested a bit of my earnings from here into a new phone and kept my old one. So now I can do vertical and horizontal filming at the same time. Because I know some of you weren't the biggest fan of the vertical format videos being put on YouTube. I do have one more though that's coming after this video that I'd already filmed on my old phone, but there should be less and less of that now. Anyway, let's get back to what we're doing because true to form, I am rambling on. I'm just happy to be here. I find nothing more fulfilling than doing cleans like this. As you know, at the stage of life I'm in at the minute, I don't often get to go and do free cleans. But it's something I want to do a lot more in the future when the kids are older. Me and Charlie were talking recently and one day, when we're a bit more financially free, we'd love to buy a van and travel around and help as many people as we can. Travel's the issue for me at the minute. My youngest isn't yet in school. I still can't drive. And obviously we both still have normal jobs and Charlie works long hours. But yeah, I still like to come and help people out whenever I get the opportunity. It'd be a lot easier with Charlie on board though, especially with heavy lifting and meeting people you've never met before. And we were talking about how we'd be able to go out for a pub lunch after each clean as a little well done to ourselves, so I'm looking forward to that down the line. That is not a good angle of me there, I do apologise. Anyway, when it came to cleaning this bath, there were some stains on the silicone that I just couldn't get rid of. And I daren't move the detachable shower thingy, so I just left it because I didn't want to break it. I cleaned around it as much as I could. And for me, these cleans are about making the biggest difference overall with the time I have. I have to stop myself spending too much time on one particular area. Because I often do that. I'll zone in on making one thing look perfect. And then suddenly it's an hour later. And then say we were working on the sink. That'll look brand new, but everywhere else will look like I haven't touched it. And obviously, we don't want that in a situation like this. So we're focusing on getting everything to a decent standard. It might not be perfect, but it's an improvement. And it's enough to brighten someone's day and take a weight off their chest. And that's good enough for me. I don't presume to ever be perfect. Nobody is really. But especially as a cleaning YouTuber, I think sometimes people will come to my channel expecting me to be a pro. And I'm just not. I'm just a regular person who's struggled with messiness most of my life, and I still struggle now. I'm not a professional cleaner, is what I'm saying. It's just that messiness and why some people are more messy than others, and the reasons why messiness can manifest and become an issue, are topics that are really close to my heart. Often in these videos, I'll be showing someone who's overwhelmed how to reduce mess in the fastest way possible. Did you see that dirt from the walls? So satisfying. But yeah, I'll show people how to tidy in the fastest but maybe not the most efficient way. Or I'll show people how to tidy big messes but not necessarily how to prevent them in the first place. Because I think those are two separate issues that need to be dealt with on separate timelines. It all really depends. I think predominantly my channel's focused on how to take away that initial overwhelm and task paralysis and show people that it can be done. Watching someone else do it really helps. I want to clear a space in people's minds for hope and the knowledge that it can and will get better. I added this lavender for a little bit of coziness. It was grown in my mum's allotment. And then it was time to start on the top of this little cupboard. Again, everything's got to go back where it was, but as you can see, it's very dirty underneath. But yeah, obviously those of you who've watched me for a while already know all of this. But here on this channel, we're not about perfection. We're about progress, and we're all about being kind and forgiving of ourselves and of others. And YouTube's fantastic because if you did want to know how to clean something perfectly, or the best products for certain jobs, how to prevent mess or declutter for your personality type, or just to relax and watch cleaning ASMR without someone talking all the way through the video, wink wink, it's all out there. There's something for everyone. And isn't that a wonderful thing? Anyway, now the cupboard was clean, it was time to put everything back on. And I did try to do this in the most aesthetically pleasing way possible. I tried to group items together like the colognes and the hair stuff and the moisturisers and then toothbrushes and mouthwash and then the razors to just give it a slightly less chaotic appearance. And it was all coming together. I was feeling very positive and proud of myself at this point and also very hungry. I really did not want to put that lint remover back on there because everything looked really nice before then. But anyway, moving on to the door. There were some measurements written on the door that I tried not to rub out. I've got it on the footage anyway, but watching all of this grime melt away was the most satisfying thing. What's been your favourite part to watch so far? I think overall for me it's the sink and the windowsill. The transformation there was just night and day. I didn't mean to splash the towel there. I didn't realise I'd done it until I watched the footage back. I also got bleach all over my clothes. It looked like I'd been to my first tie-dye class when I got home. My next job was to just give the radiator a quick wipe down. At this point I was very conscious of the time because I think I had about 45 minutes left. And I was hoping to start mopping the floor at this point, but then I saw this side of the door. Obviously couldn't leave that. I was concerned about the floor because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it as thoroughly as I would have liked. But as I said, overall, it's miles better than it was. And it's my hope that it's given Bob that confidence and that push to try and maintain it. But I'd never expect that of anyone I clean for. I struggle with keeping up momentum in my own house for longer than a few days. And even if it only stays clean and tidy for a week, that's still a week where Bob and Jeff have had a more comfortable and cosy time in their home. Hopefully Jeff feels like it's easier to face spending time in there. Maybe he'll even want to light a candle and have a bath. By the way, I know I'm not wearing gloves at this point. I kept taking them off without realising I was doing it. It's a sensory thing. I absolutely hate the feeling of gloves on my hand. And these thin ones are the only ones I can tolerate. Rest assured my hands were thoroughly washed regularly. And obviously I don't condone not wearing gloves in these situations. It's not a good thing to do. Anyway, we were getting closer and closer to the final outcome. And I cannot wait to hear what you think. This is a good example of the lighting and the colour flickering. How do you make this stop? Does anyone know? I know when I clean my house, there's one particular room where it'll do this on the camera, and I attributed that to the bulb that was in the bathroom, so maybe it's that. Nothing I can really do if it is that though, unfortunately. There are a lot of dog hairs gathered at the side of this toilet. It was really tricky to get rid of them all because they kept getting stuck onto the cloth. So after I'd cleaned it, I kind of dried it and wiped it away with paper towel, and that seemed to do the trick. And after I finished that, there was only one more thing I needed to get done. So first of all, I went in with my scrubbing brush. I know there's lots of bits on the floor and it really could have done with a hoover first, but hey ho. But first of all, I wanted to dislodge as much dirt as I could with the brush. And then I wiped it all up with some kitchen roll before going in with a mop and some bleach water. I worked in segments and did a corner at a time because for some reason, that made it a lot less stressful for me. Obviously there was so much dirt and so many layers and I didn't want to be pushing it from one segment of the floor to the next. It was also really difficult to get the camera angles in such a small space. Bear in mind I was working with 2 different camera angles at once and try not to get into the shot of each one, because I was also filming in vertical format for my other platforms. So we had me, the mop bucket and 2 tripods squished into this space. But it's all a learning curve, and for the first time filming this way, I think I made it work. I'm just so relieved that I can provide footage in both formats now, because I really did not like putting the vertical format long form videos on here. But then again, I didn't want you to miss out on certain videos, and you would have done if I didn't post them, so... That's the great thing about being able to make a bit of money from the channel now. I can buy equipment and invest money back into my channel and try to give you the best experience I can. Here's what I mean about how cramped it was trying to film it. Never mind. There was one thing that irritated me about this clean, and that was that I didn't get time to wipe down the skirting boards. Other than that, I was really pleased with how it turned out. And in a minute, you're going to get to see the before and afters. As always, if you made it to this point in the video, I want to thank you for sticking with me all this time. I hope it was a thoroughly enjoyable watch, or listen if you just listen along. And please do let me know what you think of today's video. Let's just pour the dirty water away. You can't leave that part out, can you? Oh, and I realised I needed to clean this thing because I couldn't just leave that with grime all over the top of it. This thing. It's a toilet brush, Remy. Just had to light a candle to seal it. And I brought a new bath mat because the one they had was just going mouldy and it was soggy and not very nice. And I thought they deserved a nice fresh one to go with their nice fresh bathroom. Okay, so here are the before and afters. As you can see, the first before and after is not that drastic, but here, it's like a different bathroom. Near the toilet, there's no more grime on the floor, there's no more lime scale, there's no more mould on the windowsill. Products are arranged so they're visible and accessible. Same with the bath. A lot of the products on there had run out, so I got to simplify it a little bit. And there we go.